it also reminds me of when I just did the interview with Kathy at the Autism Edit. I remember I was asking her before the interview, hey, are there any kind of things that are, that you do want to talk about that you don't want to talk about or anything? And she's like, no, let's talk about the things that might be a little tough to talk about. And for me, that's what I'm, like you said, that's what my channel's kind of all about, is having those conversations that aren't necessarily the easiest conversations to have. And she talked about burnout and how she just needs breaks sometimes, and how at the end of the day, sometimes she's so stressed out, and that's okay. It's okay to say that. It's okay not to be perfect all day, every day, because if you are perfect all day, it's not real. It's like a disguise. So we need to like tear that away and be willing to be raw and open and vulnerable. And then I think the second part of that is having people being willing to accept that and being open to that. And if we could do those two parts, then I feel like people would just be more honest and open and really who they are, rather than like a version of themselves.
Yeah, and I love that Kathy said that and that she spoke about that. And she's a super awesome human.
She's great.
When I've been talking back and forth with her as well. But I recently also heard that one of the things, and we hear it, well, we heard it all the time if we get on airplanes and travel, right? If the cabin loses air pressure, first put your oxygen mask on you and then help whoever is beside you. And to be able to verbalize and to say, hey, I need to pour into myself a little bit so that I can give to others around me. That is a natural human experience. But yeah, I feel like we oftentimes feel like we have to keep going, or we have to keep pushing ourselves because we have deadlines, and we don't take that opportunity to either rest or to even admit that we do need that break.
Absolutely. Yeah, I completely agree. My partner, my wife, is my favorite person in the world. She's my best friend, but there's times where like we just need to each do our own thing, and she needs to go read, or I'll go watch a movie. And it's getting to the place to be able to say that I need my own space, I need my own time, I need recharge time. I think it's a really powerful thing, and it's an accepting thing to be able to say that to somebody and know that they're not going to judge you, or they're not going to be like, oh, what's wrong with me, and internalize it and make it about them, and just say, yeah, just let me give this human their space to do their own thing and recharge and come back better and stronger. I think it's an important thing. Yeah. So you touched on a lot of, you kind of talked about, the companies you work with and partnerships and things like that. For people out there that don't know, do you maybe want to discuss just kind of some of the fields and areas and topics that you all really kind of focus in, maybe over the course of the entire year, or month to month, however it kind of breaks up for you all?
Absolutely, yeah. So if you don't know anything about our company, Only Human is a community organization. We're just good people doing good things for good causes, and it's as simple as that. We partner with a different nonprofit every month, and these nonprofits are in a variety of impact areas, and really it can align with what's going on in the world at the time. It can be something that our community votes on, that they want us to pay special attention to. And then we generate apparel, and this raises the story behind the nonprofit. So on the back of Adam's shirt is diversity is beautiful. And this is our autism acceptance campaign that we are currently working on. My shirt on the back has Team Human. And this was our Pride campaign, that we are all one human race, and we should be all Team Human for that. And so that's just kind of a glimpse at the overarching thing of what Only Human does. The other facet of it is our community, and those are the advocates that we absolutely love and adore. And this community is something that's super special and super unique, where you can have conversations about mental health or anything that's really on your mind. If you need a pick-me-up and say, hey, I'm just having a bad day, send me all the dog pictures, and then all of the replies of everyone's animals and pets and everything like that. It's really just a great support system. That is free to join. It is a really cool kind of tight-knit community to be involved in. And then from the cause campaigns, so when we kind of think about more about the nonprofits or the impact areas that we work in, there are two that we do every year. They are core to our company. They are core to the values of our company and near and dear to our heart. The first one is our Pride campaign. We run that every June, and it runs for an entire year. So from June this year all the way through to the next June, we run our Pride campaign. And this is because Pride is every day. We are completely lesbian owned and run company for right now, and which is really cool and gives us a unique demographic as well that pulls in our audience. But we just feel like pride from any sense in your culture, in who you are, is something that you should celebrate all the time. So that is one of the campaigns that runs all year round. The second one is a mental health campaign. So in September, we run a suicide prevention and awareness campaign and focus on mental health. And again, that is something that we interweave, and we talk about mental health in all of the different areas that we work in throughout the year. But in September, we focus on that one. From there, it really just kind of depends. We have focused on being unsheltered, humans that are unsheltered. We have focused on the foster care system. We have done sexual violence. We've done kids, just kindness in general. We have done autism acceptance. We've really done everything. We're doing cancer. We have done a lot for human rights as well. That's another thing that as things develop in the world, and as we saw last year, there were a lot of pivots as a company that we had to do, because we decided that our company is for all humans and taking a stand for human rights, whether that be for Asian and Pacific Islanders, whether that be for Black Americans, whether that be for trans humans, any and all of the above. These are all areas. Any human rights area is an area that we care deeply about, and we are not afraid to take a stand on. So as things develop in the world, you'll kind of see us pivot to that as well. So right now we're really focusing a lot on the trans bans that are going on around the country, and seeing how we can educate and kind of use our community to do more good in that space, to make people feel welcomed and to be able to play in sports that they deeply love, and be accepted in that. So yeah.
That's once again, I keep using the phrases like amazing and awesome, but that's just what you all do. So, and it's who you are. And one thing that you said I really like is that kind of ever evolving. The world is constantly changing and different issues are coming up, and being able to pivot quickly and say, okay, this is a real issue right now, and we're going to stand with these people, and not just having to be like, well, we'll get to that eventually, or we'll think about doing that. It's like, no, like these are people that we need to stand with, and then you do it. You just do it. I love that about the company. And another thing I want to touch on is, you talk about your swag and my swag. I know people are going to be like, oh, because we're doing this, he's saying this. I said this before this interview. I'm going to say this after. I love your swag. You guys have the best swag. So I've gotten stuff from you all. I'm going to get stuff in the future, and you just come up with really like creative designs and stuff like that. So keep going with that stuff.
We love it too, honestly. We love it too. And the cool part about it is that they all have a story behind it.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're all tied to something, which helps, and we call them conversation pieces. That's what they are. They're t-shirts, but they're also conversation starters. The number of times that we've had individuals, I mean, me personally, come up to me and say, hey, I really like your shirt. And then it opens that door to a perfect stranger to be like, well, let me tell you about it, why it was created, why it looks like this, who we partnered with for it. And I know that a lot of people who wear our clothing they also have similar experiences. So if you're one that loves to have conversations, there you go.
True story. I promise you this is true. I met up with a friend earlier today to have lunch before this, and she actually commented on my shirt. Like, she saw the back of it and she was like, "Oh, I love that. Where did you get that?" And I was like, "Well, yeah." So I mean, it's literally exactly what it is. People see it and they go, "Oh, that's different. That's unique. Like, where did you get that?" And then it's not just about where you got it, but it's like the story behind it. I feel like it just kind of draws more people in. So, you talked about what you have going on now. Anything coming up in the future? Any future projects or partnerships or anything like that that you all are excited about?
Yeah, I mean, we are about to launch our June Pride campaign. So we last year, as the world started to close down and festivals and everything were closed, we very quickly pivoted to being able to do virtual programming. Similar story this year. Not a lot of prides or festivals are happening. So we've got a lot of cool things, a lot of cool people who are going to share their stories, and just very, very humanizing and real conversations that are going to be happening for June. And then, like I said, Pride is all the time for us. So actually, our next 3 campaigns are focusing on LGBTQ issues in particular. So we've got our Pride campaign with the Center for Black Equity. We've got our July campaign, which we're going to do chosen families. So we're going to focus on, how LGBTQ individuals can make families, but also blood relation and non-blood relation. You choose that. And then August, we're going to do a campaign with a focus on sports. So the Olympics are coming.
Yes, Olympics are coming. I love that. I'm doing a few videos coming up soon during the summer where I'm specifically focusing on Pride as well. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Can never get enough like awareness and conversation and just giving people a platform to be exactly who they are. And I think that's one of the coolest things is when you work with people and companies and humans and organizations and YouTube channels like mine and Instagram and things like that. Nobody's doing anything special. They're just being exactly who they are. And the fact that you all support that and promote that, I think is just one of the absolute coolest things about it. So thank you so much for what you do. It is appreciated on many levels by multiple people. Before we did the interview, me and Kathy, we just like talked about your channel for a while and how much we liked you all and how great it's been working with you. So, once again, I greatly appreciate you taking the time to kind of just sit down with me and have a conversation and talk about, both you as a person and, the company Only Human that you're involved with. So I'm going to put a whole bunch of links below in the description and everything like that. So people can reach out and check you all out. But, I'm greatly appreciative of this time to sit down. I know you're super busy and I'm sure you have a pile of emails to get back to. But for those of you out there listening, if you haven't already checked out Only Human, they constantly have things going on every month. So check them out. And like I said, I'll put links in the description below so you can all see that information. But as always, for all of you, thank you for joining. We greatly appreciate it. And regardless of where you're coming from, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Bye, everyone.